morning. I'm going to put you on countdown.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show.
Good morning.
Newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we're
Wendy.
no room for any less.
Thumbs up.
Every morning I wake up
All
to the
links.
sound
Morning, Olga.
my heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.
That message.
Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow.
I've got some sinus issues. I don't know why.
Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up
Let's
to
see.
the sound.
I'm literally just sitting down at my desk. I did a lot of work last night on this, so morning, Harold. We should be fine, but make sure all these links are working before I look like a bozo and come on air and be like, ooh, that didn't work. Trendspider's there. Got yesterday's podcast there. Seeking Alpha. Markets are going, silver is up 2%, gold is up 1%. Crazy. I'm just kind of reading the headlines here on see. Families of Trump and Commerce Secretary stand to benefit from U.S. drug. Of course. Of course. I mean, it's not called Trump RX for nothing. Of course. So, I mean, we have a president who launched a meme coin before getting inaugurated. The night, I think it was the Saturday before his inauguration. Nothing against the law about it, but is it ethically right? That's for you to decide as voters, not for me to decide. Your vote matters in that. But Poet, which I brought up before, I have to turn on. I have to turn on my do not disturb. I will keep the. By the way, I will keep the text open just in case Russell gives me a
Thank you.
thing.
Although, yeah.
But by the way, one of the biggest losers is Iran. But we'll go over that. Apple Meta close to settling cases related to EU's digital markets. CoreWeave, something is very wrong, but it's a buy. Oracle, the NVIDIA moment. UNFI I brought up before. That's the top small cap in the quant. Trending in most actives. Poet was up 23%. We had Data Vault up one. Trilogy, which I brought up, was 211%. Jesus. Lulu, of course. Portfolio movers. Rocket Labs was up 6%. We'll go over that one. I mean, these are all stocks. Let's see. Don't own Rocket Labs. Don't own ELF. ELF is at 146. I mean, this one, if you got in, I know that this guy Jeremy on YouTube who, he's a guy who doesn't protect his capital very well. I mean, lost a ton of money, but has been killing it of recent. And you know, in this market, $3 million turns to $6 million overnight. You know, when you invest in those huge growth. But ELF, I mean, it's not even from a MACD standpoint. This was 20 points above the oscillator. You're only 7 points above it right now. Is ELF a good investment? I mean, again, they grew on TikTok and they're growing. When you look at their valuation, it doesn't make sense. But their growth in this personal care products. I think Honest might be the number one. Nature's Sunshine Products. Let's look at this one. Market cap, 263 million. So, I mean, literally, new insider selling. Ooh, and buying. Read now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We've got a new feature in Seeking Alpha down there. So, ASTS has been a killer, investment. Does this one have room to run? Probably two analysts that cover it. They say it's $21, which is 42% upside. You've seen a downturn. Let's look at NATR chart here. Might be worth, well, I mean, you lose 20% versus 8% buy and holding. It wins only 27% of the time. But that's because, I mean, this is just a, I mean, that's a space I'm just not sure of, but again, I went down a rabbit hole last night. Let's look at what we're going to do. Let's look at what we're going to do here. I think, let's see. Am I going to open these up? I think I'm just going to go down to the screener and talk about these things and not necessarily show the screens. I think they would get upset if I show the screens. So, but I went down a rabbit hole, literally small cap stocks, the top small cap right there, the top quant rated stocks, which are top stocks by quant right here, top quant dividend stocks, and the top rated stocks. I went down a rabbit hole and I picked out some. Gold went nuts. I will tell you that the dollar's getting deleveraged at this point through gold, Bitcoin, and other assets. So we'll go over nuclear, and I'm not going to open up a screen with that one, but I will kind of just go through some screens on that one. OpenAI is where you should focus. I mean, OpenAI is the new NVIDIA. It's a small. It would be part of the Mag 7 if it were a publicly traded company, but you should be in some names that OpenAI has partnered with. This was super interesting. And while Hood is not mentioned in here, I think Robinhood benefits from this. So we'll go over this story. This is about ICE, ICE, which is Intercontinental Exchange, which actually owns the New York Stock Exchange. And they basically invested in Polymarket yesterday. So, we're going to go over the October watch list because it's doing pretty well. We will open up the September watch list right here. Hold on, I got to sneeze. I'm going to put you on a countdown real quick. I got to go.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success.
Okay, I'm back, but I've got to change the camera.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts
There
to
we go.
pound.
Okay. We're going to open up that September watch list. We're also going to open up the August watch list, so I can show that one. There is the August watch list. We'll look at that one too. Poet went kind of crazy yesterday. It was up 23%, up 8%. We'll kind of go. We'll go over why. Open with. We'll just look at that. After, I mean, they literally diluted, but it's a huge war chest, and you know they're going after money. They've got money now. So Dell went a little nuts yesterday. 5%. I think it was up 6% at one point. Oracle is, they have an event next week, and it'll be interesting because Oracle did get taken down a little bit. I do think that under $300, I think it pops to over $300 at some point, which would be like a 10% move at this point. It's interesting. Kind of go over that one. Or Rocket Lab. Hamid just keeps selling this one, and it keeps going to record highs. Tesla. Chris Camillo is all in on Tesla. He's betting on Elon. They released their new low-cost model. I'm going to close that down. Tesla released a new low-cost model. I don't think it's game-changing, but I do think it's interesting. IREN. This is an analyst who says, hey, IREN's got 50% left in it when you compare it to the valuation of Nebius, because IREN continues to march higher, and it was up 6%. It's down 3% because they did convertible notes. So I'm going to go over my entire portfolio, kind of from yesterday, the winners, the losers, blah, blah, blah. AppLovin, it was a buy the dip moment. I mean, it just was 100% a buy the dip moment. And we're going to kind of go over the market. It's an AI land grab, as they put it. Ken Griffin had this is a good interview with gold at all-time highs. That cash should not be a position. It just doesn't feel like it's a good position. Gold is at all-time high. Bitcoin booms. The dollar may not be as strong. Again, it's a weak dollar. Why the AI stock is a bubble. Talk about the bubble is good. Josh Brown was on CNBC yesterday, and they went over his interview with Peter Lynch, and he had it's like 2 minutes. It's a good take on what Peter Lynch says, which is, hey, I don't own any AI stocks. And but the bull market can continue to run. I will also, you know what? I'm going to show the Trendspider. Let's go to Twitter because they put it on. Let's look up Trendspider. And then we're going to scroll down. They asked Sidekick. ASTS up 10%. This is just a warning I'm gonna highlight, since a lot of folks that listen to me are on Trendspider. Scam warning. Because somebody's out there pretending to be people from Trendspider, whether it's James, whether it's Nader, whether it's Mike, and they are scamming people who have Trendspider into sending them money, I guess, for additional Sidekick stuff. Who knows? I don't have the stuff. Morning, Jersey. Morning, Sean. Oh, boy. Okay. So that's the show. I don't think I'm going to do any scans. I don't know. Let's see. Costco, Netflix, Uber, Walmart, Exxon. Nah, I don't feel like doing scans. Kudos, Jersey. Poet was interesting because I was looking at it last night and I'm like, what would have influenced me to get into this one? And I had put that $6.16 in there. And the reason I put that in there was if you look at it, that's kind of where it pops to. And it doesn't seem to be a downward trend, although you could put a trend line that it's downward trending. But the moves in this one are pretty good. And if you look at that $6.16 on this weekly, it clearly, for me, if I were in this and buying it under that, I'd probably be taking some profits here. But, oh God, I gotta sneeze. Hold on, I'm gonna put you on a countdown again.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less.
There we go. Oh. Is it a good bet to buy iron on the 4% dip or is still too high? That's a you question, Mark, not a me question. If I was buying with your money, of course it's a great bet. If I was buying with my money, I don't know, because I've already made my positions in that. So whether it's your money or my money, that's the big question. If you want to buy with my money, I'm not letting you buy with my money. I will make my own decisions on that. That's great, Meat Stick. And it kind of, it goes to show you, I mean, the market, this one in particular is crazy, and Rocket Labs is crazy, and there's just some nutso stuff going on in the market, but this is... Did you buy the stock in Rocket in ASTS? Meat Stick or options? I hope you put $10,000 in there, and I hope you take a vacation. Oh. I got all my alerts cleared out. Okay. I may have to stop this in the middle of it if I get sick again or... Kudos, man. Good job. I hope you loaded into it. I hope your conviction was as big as mine as Apple in 2006, where I loaded in. So, I hope you're a, 900% is game changing if you had conviction in that name. But if it was just a bet and a small bet, still congratulations, but it's not life changing. kind of shows you that, hey, ASTS is not one in 2022 that I think a lot of people were talking about, but it can change your life if you have conviction in a stock and if you believe in that stock and if that stock winds up taking off. So, and you don't need 100 winners in that sense. I mean, you can hit home runs on some, you can lose on others. Just make sure that you're cutting your losers and adding to the winners. I don't know that I would have held on to ASTS when it's not making money in 2022, because that just to me seems like, you're at 11, you go down to 2. But kudos. I mean, if you're $11, I don't know how you're up 900% if you bought at 11 and you're 85, but hey, maybe you bought down here too. So kudos. Congratulations. I think I have a couple 1,000%. Let me see. But these are, we're talking 20 years, not 2 years. Let's see, portfolio. Let's see. I have a 300% in Alpha Picks, a 200%, 100% in Alpha Picks. My Alpha Picks portfolio. I am up 6,000% on Apple, and that's after taking some gains. So I am up 1,500% on Microsoft. I am up 1,000% on Nvidia. It's about 1,100 there. And then you get down to XLK. I'm up about 700%. XLY, I'm up 400%. Netflix, which I just bought. I know I sold out of mine and then rebought. I'm up 200%. And then you get down to my IRA, and I'm up to 700% in Walmart, but that's a very small position. And remember, I've only been managing my IRA, but I've been heavily trading it. So these percentages, I've only been managing this since 2020. So, Walmart's my biggest winner in there. Interesting. Then there's Apple, IGM, XLK. They're all up, 500-600%. So, and what's funny is in my Roth IRA, Apple is up 500%. IGM is up 400%. And IREN, which I just bought in August, is up 240%. Crazy. It's just nuts. So I've got big percentage winners, but Larry, again, I point out that if you bought in 2020 and you held on to stuff, you should be up at least 100%. The market has doubled since 2020, and it's only 2025, and that's not normal. But the market has doubled since 2020. So, and that was where, remember, so I retired in January. I sold my 401. I transferred my 401k from Earthlink to Fidelity in February. It wound up losing 40% in March. Because I bought a bunch of stock and I didn't wait for it. I didn't wait for the stuff. You just can't time it. Those gains would be significantly higher had I just bought at the very low in March, but I wound up buying. I got the check, and I put it into Fidelity, and I said, okay, here's Apple, here's Amazon, blah blah blah. I've traded a lot in that account. Not a lot of Apple, but I have taken some gains on Apple. So, but it's good gains. Again, there are losers in there. Let me see. Are there any total losers? Let's see. Let's go to the portfolio, and we're total. Let's see. AlphaPix has quite a bit of losers in there. My only loser in my brokerage account is PSIX, and that's because I've added to it recently, and it's just continuing down. Don't have any losers in my business account. My IRA, no losers. My Roth, no losers. And my healthcare savings, no losers. So, it's about cutting your losers. And I haven't taken, I think PSIX is the only one that I really added to in the last couple of weeks or so. And that's only because, it's a top second half stock, and we've seen it dip. The 4-hour algorithm has you out. I haven't been waiting on that one. I tried to time it a little, I think around 97 or so. But that had a nice 10% gain. And this one, 182% versus 154%. I'll wait. I think I've got an alert. Yeah, I've got an alert. I want to renew that alert. So I've got an alert for it. So, okay. I am going to get started here. Morning, Cam. Morning, Dominic. Okay, let me get started. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. Wednesday, October 8th. I have some sinus issue today. I had this amazing pressure in my sinuses yesterday, and I'm a little off kilter this morning, if you will. I'm not falling down, but for some reason, got a little sinus issue. I got a warning for all Trendspider customers. I will bring that up. The fraud alert. Bull markets, they can last a long time. I will give you my portfolio insights from yesterday, quite a few interesting ones. I will also give you stocks that I don't own that reached record highs or had big moves. We'll look at a couple of those, including one that went up 25% yesterday. We will look at the August watch list. I will show you the September watch list, and we will preview some of the October watch list, because one of them, the October, it's up 4% in just 7 days, including if you had just bought IREN when I put out the October watch list, and that's in there, you'd be up 35% right now. 35%. Prediction markets are going mainstream. We'll talk about how that's bullish for Hood. OpenAI, what you should focus on. Gold is at $4,000. It is a devalue of the dollar. And I also went down a rabbit hole last night with small cap stocks on Seeking Alpha. So we'll go over that. So again, yesterday, did it hurt? Morning was down 0.78%. Afternoon was down as well on the Qs. It's a little, is this the pullback that we've been needing? You get Fed minutes today, so we know who said what in the Fed meeting. Tomorrow starts earnings. Go over to Earnings Hub and look at that if you want, because I mentioned it earlier in the week. Delta is coming up. But I want to warn Trendspider customers, okay? They put out this yesterday, scam warning. They've seen fake accounts impersonating Trendspider and offering stock picks or financial advice. FYI, I have had this talk with Trendspider. I said you guys should put together a portfolio like AlphaPix so that you can do that. They don't want to do that. They do not want to give you and will never give you any financial advice. And they are very careful, even in their technical analysis on Twitter, where they don't give you, they just say, hey, GE flying like a flag. It's a bull flag. Is that going to be? And they ask AI, ASTS, which is up like 10% this morning. They ask a Sidekick, is it a good bet? Excuse me, I'm not going to edit that one out, but I'm sorry. But yeah, ASTS signed the deal. They don't give you advice. They literally just look at charts, and that's what Trendspider is about. It's just charts. That's all it is. It's charts integrating AI and some fundamental data. So it's, if they give you financial advice, it's not Trendspider. Understand that. And we are in a bull market. How long can this go? And by the way, the ASMR fans are going to love today because my sinuses are really effed up. But the bull market this Sunday turns 3 years old. And they can run a long way. The shortest of the last 50 years was 5 years. That doesn't mean you're not going to see pullbacks. But it's not a recession. It's not a long-term drawdown. It just means that long-term buying at all-time highs will lead you to more long-time highs, all-time highs. Again, don't be afraid of all-time highs. You can look at this chart. You can understand it. Put it into AI. Ask it, is this true? Okay? That's what you need to do. If you're getting scared and you're selling out, remember, the biggest thing I can tell you is time in the market beats timing the market. You're not going to time the top. You're going to get scared from the headlines that tell you it's overvalued. We're going to see it crash, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you have a plan. My plan has always been stay in the markets. Buy good quality stocks. Find opportunities. And take them. If you journal your trades, you will and you can repeat those trades, you will succeed in this market. And I went over on Monday Josh Brown's interview with Peter Lynch, and we said, hey, 3 things you can learn. And I even published the episode down here, 3 legendary investing lessons from Peter Lynch. I went into AI and I summarized it for you. Here yesterday on CNBC, Josh Brown went over his interview with Peter Lynch and what they learned. And one of the big things was just because a stock is up doesn't mean you don't buy it. It doesn't mean it can't continue to go up. Peter Lynch made that example with McDonald's. Everybody told him, why are you buying McDonald's? McDonald's, they're all over the interstate. And he said, you know what? Look at International. They're growing. It went up 10 times. 10 times. When all of his advisors said, don't buy McDonald's, that was one of his largest positions. I saw it personally with Robinhood and Palantir, where I said, you know what? They're too expensive. They've run up too much. I don't want to buy them. I missed out on the opportunity. Again, a quality stock will continue to run. How do you identify quality? Well, you use the tools that you have in front of you. Go over to Seeking Alpha. Go over to FinViz. Look at the exact evaluation of the stock. Is it a good stock? Is it growing more? Ask AI, hey, what's a stock that's similar to this one in the past that I can look at a stock chart of their growth? Go and do some research. I had a friend text me yesterday and I said, you've got to do the work. There is work involved with here. It's not just point and click. If you want a point and click portfolio where you don't have to do anything, get Alpha Picks. Look at the performance. The performance is spectacular. I will go over some of them that's in my portfolio later in this show. But again, why all this talk about AI bubbles is good for stocks? You would think the headlines are going to scare you. But bubble warnings typically come very early in a bull market. Okay? I'm not considering anything other than a pullback. And this analyst on Seeking Alpha points out the talk of bubbles usually comes in the early stages of the bubbles. If you got out in 1997 during the 2000, the dot bomb, sure, it was great to get out in 2000. It was great to time it. And you want to know how I look at timing this type of thing? Look at monthly charts, okay? Take a chart. If you don't understand charts, go and do your own course on AI. I was telling a friend, when I drive to the gym every day, I turn on Grok in my Tesla and I say, I have loaded it up and I've trained it on my podcast. And I say, tell me something that's going on in the market right now that I don't know about. And I have a conversation with AI. It's been great. Again, I'm learning while I'm driving. I'm having a conversation with somebody who is an expert. And yes, it tells me some crap that I don't want to listen to, but that's part of the work. And again, if you had QQQ and you got out in 1999, it just started in March 1999. But look at the monthly candles. Do you think you could have gotten out? Again, you look at this, January 2021, the QQQ was up 10%. It gave you hope. If you had bought there, it took you all the way until 2012 to get back. That is something that, again, in Peter Lynch's discussion with Josh Brown, he says he doesn't think that this type of thing is going to happen because there's too many indications. If you go down 40% like in 2022, he expects governments to come in. He expects buyers to come in, push the market higher. That's what he expects. And I continue to think that this type of drawdown in 2021 to 22, this was telegraphed. This was the Fed hiking rates at a historic pace because inflation got out of control. If the Fed starts hiking rates again, you know the playbook because you have journaled your trades during this time. Again, why all this talk about the bubble, the AI bubble is actually good for stocks? Do the research. And gold glitters, Bitcoin booms. We've talked about this. Gold reached record highs over 4,000 yesterday. Bitcoin hit all-time highs. Deutsche Bank highlights the shift away from dollar dependence. If you are in cash, this is why I said the other day, I don't believe that cash is a viable investment for me. Yes, I still get like 4% on my cash, but 4%, inflation is close to 3%. You put in taxes and on that on those dividends on that interest, you're all of a sudden you've got nothing. It's a weak dollar. Cash is not an option. I don't like it. I don't want it. So I want to find assets where I can make money. Understand this. That, again, remember, this podcast isn't about you. It's about me. I talk about my portfolio. It's giving you an insight into somebody who has achieved retirement and has done really well in the markets. Am I perfect? No, I make a ton of mistakes. And maybe not pulling my money out during a quote unquote bubble is a mistake. You just never know. But Ken Griffin talks about it here. Gold's at record highs. Bitcoin, the appreciation and other dollar substitutes. He's basically telling you cash is not good. Inflation is going to eat away at your cash, and all of these other investments are meant to make your money work for you. So, what can you count? Let's talk about pullbacks and what leads to downturns. Again, if you're scared, you won't want to see, you won't see in a day a 10% pullback. You just won't see it. So a daily chart isn't going to tell you that a downturn happened. You won't see it in a week because we've seen 4 and 5% pullbacks in a week. And did it lead to months of pullbacks? No. Fundamental data is not going to tell you we're in for a 40% downturn. We've seen it. Fundamentals just don't tell you. So stop using Seeking Alpha. You can use Seeking Alpha all you want. But my guide to you is to find a charting program and to find a strategy that works. And that's why I like Trendspider. That's why I like charts. Take the time to learn charts. Don't sign up for Trendspider and think, oh, it's going to teach me everything I want to know about technical trading. It's not. This is what basically Trendspider has training wheels. Okay, so for somebody who doesn't know how to ride a bike, this is going to teach you how to ride a bike really easily. But is it worth $1,000 or $800, whatever you pay for the yearly subscription to learn where you can get a free technical tool? For years, I used Fidelity Active Trader Pro, and I used Thinkorswim, and I used E-Trade's charts. Again, I learned on those tools. The reason you step up to Trendspider is A, to save you time and get you better data analysis. Now I can't live with Trendspider. But again, if you want to know when we're going into that 40% downturn, look at 2008, look at 2022. And it doesn't hurt to just buy on the way back up. But if you're afraid of something falling and you want to time the market, use longer term charts to tell you exactly what's going on. And Trendspider, you can even do quarterly charts. And on QQQ, look at that. Where are you getting out? Because the only quarter is 2008 that I see that was bad. 2000, it hurt. If we're in a bubble and we're going to get something like this again, it's going to hurt. But why an AI land grab environment puts stocks valuations in a frenzy? Again, this is Karen Finnerman. She goes over this and she discusses why all of these AI stocks get into a frenzy. And Peter Lynch doesn't own any AI stocks. Do you think he's afraid of that? No, he's not. So let's go over my portfolio because that's what I did yesterday. And first one I saw, AppLovin. It was a buy the dip moment. Want to know why? Because the SEC came out and they said, you know what? We don't see anything, but the 4-hour algorithm got you out with a 40% gain. That's great. It's probably going to take a day or two to get back in. Now in pre-market, AppLovin is up 1% at 637. Where's the top at? 732. And Sam points it out here. It bounced 17% after Citi calls the SEC probe a long-term buying opportunity. And then Seeking Alpha posted this. Oppenheimer doesn't expect much from the SEC inquiry. We've seen this in two other short reports where it came out and the company says, you know what, we're not doing this. And so is the SEC going to find something different? Maybe. But again, you're going to have to deal with that volatility. I had 3 alpha pick stocks yesterday alone that were up 4%. One of them I've been actively trading, and I mentioned earlier this week. I will give you that. Go back and look at what I mentioned in alpha picks earlier this week. It was up 4% yesterday. I'm not going to give it to you today. Do the work. Do the work. Understand exactly what it is. Netflix. I told you that Netflix, at this point, it's got to buy here at $11.91. The cancel Netflix thing, it's dying out. Netflix is still a buy. You've got Stranger Things coming out in December. You've got NFL football games at Christmas. Are people disconnecting Netflix? No. And if they do, remember, they don't post subscriber numbers. They post revenue now. UNH, which I said, hey, this one was a good one. This one climbed 1.3% yesterday. On its way where? To $450. If you just look at this chart, it's a beaten down stock and healthcare is getting a boost up. AMD, which I said, hey, buy at 160. This continued its push higher and was up 4% yesterday. It hasn't even reached the high of 230. So remember, stock charts have memories. And this one, when you look at a weekly chart, we've just seen it go parabolic. You had the chance to buy it in August, September. It pulled back and now it's off. And you've got a huge gap creating up here and you're on top of the Bollinger Bands and it's extended. Would I be buying it here? I'm perfectly happy buying it at 160. My money is not your money. So when you ask me, should I buy more AMD? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to put in the work and you need to understand what you're buying. And if you don't know what you're buying, go and ask AI. Don't ask me. I own this one. And then IREN. They announced a convertible note. So they were up 6% yesterday. They're at 3%. It continues to march higher. It was up 6.81%, and they announced it. Find a strategy if this volatility scares you. I'm bullish long-term on this one, but I may have to take profits. This chart is too good for me. And yes, my risk is my reward. You can see it's up 230%. By the way, the 4-hour algorithm, that's what I've used on this one. That's what I've used. I'm not using any strategy that isn't available to you. It's about taking the risk, and it's about the comfort level of taking. Was I comfortable taking buying at 17 here, where the stock just got out of a 167% gain? No. But the reward is 230%, and it's continuing higher. Again, what are they using this money for? They're using it to invest back in the business. And this particular analyst suggests that compared to Nebius, which was my favorite and still is one of my favorites, but I don't own it. I own IREN for the valuation, and that's what I saw in that $17. If Nebius can climb on their earnings, I bought it before those earnings. Again, just doing a little bit of work. It wasn't days of research. It wasn't, 40, 50 hours of research. It was watching a stock, seeing it run up like this, seeing it, and then going out and doing my own research. But again, do your own research. And if you want this research and you want to read this research, Seeking Alpha has the best research out there, and I find it incredibly helpful when I'm looking at stocks like this. You can get premium and alpha picks. We just talked about alpha picks and the performance, but you can get premium and alpha picks. Use my link because you save money. That's the benefit to you. You save money by going to Linktree and clicking on these links. Don't go out there and try and find a better coupon. They tell me I'm one of their leading affiliates, and I've got the best coupons out there. So I've got the best coupon for Trendspider, Seeking Alpha Premium, and Alpha Picks. And if you just want a free newsletter, again, that's on Linktree as well. But IREN, it's a big winner. Now, let's talk about a stock that I do own a little bit of. Not a lot. Tesla. They offered their lower cost vehicle. It was announced yesterday. You had Elon buy $1 billion worth of this stock. Okay, just before. It was down 4% yesterday. It's up a little bit in pre-market. Archer tanked. It tanked 8%, giving up all of its gain. You don't buy Archer. You don't buy Archer for a Tesla partnership. I went over it yesterday. You buy Archer because it potentially could have a partnership with Palmer Luckey's Anduril. But Tesla offers their new Model Y, and it gets them under $40,000. The Model 3 goes even lower. Now, Chris Camillo, who I'm a big fan of, he goes out there and says, hey, he's putting a bet on Elon. You don't invest in Tesla for the cars. You invest in Tesla for the robots. And on November 6th, they have an event, and Chris is betting big on Elon. It's going to be a robotics and AI company. It's not a car company. This isn't valued like a car company. Now, if you want to, say you're scared of Tesla like me. Trade the 4-hour algorithm, because over the last 24 months, it makes you 98% versus 82%. Okay, you've got a nice gain here in this one. And I do own Tesla. I own a very small portion of Tesla, but it's up 30% in the 4-hour algorithm right now. That's a good strategy, but it's a robotics company. It is not a car company. Oh, and let's go over some of the crypto stocks, because I've been going over crypto. Okay, they all fell. They all tanked yesterday. BMNR under 60. Under 60. This one was down, let's see, 8% yesterday in the morning. This one was down. IBIT was down. ETHA was down. Coin were hit hard again. My thesis is not to trade these. My thesis is to add and build positions. So am I worried about that yesterday? My BMNR stake is up 32% as a whole, even with yesterday's drop. When will I add more? I will add more on the 4-hour algorithm. Again, these are pretty good gains, 45%, 12%. And then you got in here at 57, and you're trading in pre-market at 60. It's up 2%. I'm playing catch up in my portfolio. This is the overall thesis. QQQ, just to give you an idea, okay? I track against QQQ. That's what I want to see. And year to date, QQQ is up 18%. That's the index I track. I'd have to double my gains in my portfolio year to date. Had I just bought QQQ and done nothing else, I'd be up 18%. I am playing catch up. The main reason, it's because of my large allocation to Apple. And am I worried about it? No. Apple is one that I still believe in. I'm getting less belief in it, but I still believe in when this goes down and starts to tank, they just seem to come back. It's a safety net, but year to date, it's only up 2%. AlphaPix year to date, by the way, is up 32%. So my AlphaPix portfolio is only up 16%. I'm underperforming the AlphaPix in my AlphaPix portfolio. Want to know why? Because I bought AlphaPix big over the last 2 months. So I haven't enjoyed the 32% year-to-date AlphaPix gain. But next year, as I start to add to that portfolio, maybe I'll actually catch up to them because I'm trading it actively. Stocks I don't own that hit record highs. Rocket Lab. If you're following on Savvy Trader, Hamid basically posted yesterday, I am keep selling Rocket Labs just because it continues to become too large in my portfolio. He's doing portfolio management. And he even said it keeps setting new record highs. And yes, Rocket Labs was up 5% yesterday, new record high. And FYI, it's up 5% in pre-market, another record high. Record highs sometimes lead to record highs. It's about your conviction and about you doing research in that. And can anybody guarantee you that if you do research, you're going to win? No, but you've got to make these mistakes. Another one that I'm big on, Oracle's documents show financial challenges of renting out NVIDIA chips. This is the issue. They are paying all this money for all of these chips. Can they rent them out at a profit margin that is big? A report says they're having issues with actually making money. Okay, that pulled Nebius, that pulled CoreWeave down with it. IREN was ironically up. They have an event next week, Oracle does. They may speak to the margin issues. But again, this is something you want to keep an eye on because I think Oracle will go over a chart of OpenAI in a little bit. Oracle's one of the OpenAI partners. But when you look at a chart, you've got a gap here between 244 and 274. Do I want to buy in when the 4-hour algorithm has me out? And by the way, the 4-hour algorithm, you can see the performance right down here, 186% on 21 trades in 24 months. It wins 48% of the time. And do I want to buy Oracle at 284? Even though I know personally it will pump back up over $300. Do I want to buy it at 284 when there's this gap below and the 4-hour algorithm, which actually beats buy and hold, doesn't have me in? No, I'm going to have some patience. I'm going to have some patience because here's a weekly chart. When in doubt, pull out. Look at how extended the MACD is. Look at how extended the RSI is. This may need some time to rest. That move up from 200 to 300 took 1 quarter. That's a 30% move for a stock that has a market cap. Let's see what Oracle's market cap is. A market cap of $807 billion. It's too big of a move. Does that mean it won't push back up to 300? No, we are in a bull market and it's a hype market. Okay, Dell soared yesterday after they raised their long-term revenue targets to all-time highs. Remember, this is one of the dot bomb companies, and I saw an interview with Michael Dell yesterday. He's on the front lines of this AI. Okay, this lived through 2000. He doesn't see this as an AI bubble. Okay, and I want to give Seeking Alpha's quant rating. Again, what you get with the quant rating is you get a good guide because it values the stock on valuation, growth, profitability, momentum, and revisions. And when you go down here, it was a buy at the beginning of September where it hit 124. You can go back in time when it was actually a buy. But when you look at this, again, what changed? Momentum, it changed. And when you look at momentum, that may be what pushed this one higher. And if you just look at the 1 month gain, 24% in 1 month. Again, Michael Dell is telling you it's not a bubble. And then a stock that I basically went down to top stocks about a month or two ago, and I said, hey, this Poet one looks really good. It was a top stock. It was a strong buy in the quant. Okay. It went up 10% yesterday. 3-year high after it does a $75 million fundraise. Again, Poet. Right now, it's a sell in the quant. But if you had this on your watch list and say you had some type of alert that said, hey, when I see on a 5-minute candle a stock that starts moving a little bit and you're actively trading, again, in Trendspider or whatever chart you have, you could have bought this at 677 yesterday with the confirmation, and you could have gotten out when it lost confirmation at 761. Again, a stock that moves provides you opportunity. And that's just Poet. There are plenty of others in the top stocks that actually provide that type of momentum. Now, I want to point out the August and September watch list that I put in my newsletter. Again, this newsletter is free. These watch lists, when they come out, I post them after the month is over. But just look at August, okay? I usually buy one stock, one share of each stock, and I put it in so I can track it. It's up 21% since it was published, okay? August since publishing, up 21%. It includes Nebius. Okay, if you just go about this, Nebius is the top gainer at 137%, COMM 90%, AppLove and 70 member watch list, it's up 19.24% since it was published. The top total gainer, Open Door 107. I said it was a YOLO one, but if you bought it on the day I published this watch list, you're up 107%. Western Digital, which is a great stock with great revenues. That's not YOLO. That's up 51%. Hood is up 40%. So again, that's the September watch list. The October watch list is published. It is right here under the paid section. Okay. And I'll give you just an idea. IREN was on this watch list as well. Had you purchased IREN on the day I published it, again, it was on the August watch list. It wasn't on the September, but it was on the October watch list. Had you bought this on the day I published this, you're now up 35%. So is it too late to get into IREN? That's a you decision. I have my position staked. Now, I want to talk about Hood because that was one of the big winners. And it's one of my most recent winners, up 40, 50%. I don't know what I'm up on that one. But Intercontinental Exchange, which you may not know, it's ICE. It's not the immigration stuff, but ICE is the symbol. They own the New York Stock Exchange. Want to know what they bet on? Prediction markets. Guess who's in prediction markets? It's Robinhood. I think this just does more to push Vlad's theory of tokenizing. And who's the leader in tokenizing stuff right now? It is Robinhood. And if they get the ability through the New York Stock Exchange to start doing tokenization and some of this prediction market stuff, guess what? Robinhood is going to benefit from that. And if you want to know another thing that's benefiting the market, again, we've seen this before. This is a rinse and repeat investment opportunity, okay? OpenAI, when they announce a new partnership, the stock pops 10 to 50%. Rinse and repeat. Identify some stocks that may get an OpenAI partnership. We saw HubSpot. We saw some of the software names when they announced that they were integrated to the AI. We saw them pop. It's rinse and repeat. And if you don't have any of these companies in your portfolio, I would suggest starting to look at some of these. We're in an AI market. If this is 1997, you still got 3 years of this type of gain. And the gold rush returns. Well, I want to, before we go into this, I want to just take you down a rabbit hole yesterday. Because I got a call from a friend who asked me about nuclear, and he said specifically SMR. Okay, this is new scale power, and it's been, year to date, it's up 122%, 6 months, 180%, 1 month, it's up 14%. You're seeing it kind of just flatten out a little bit as I go in here. You're not at the 52-week high of 53. You're in the middle right there is 39. It's a hold in the quant. Want to know why? The valuation sucks. The profitability sucks. And the revisions suck. When you go to the financials, they have $56 million in revenue. And yet their market cap is $11 billion. Just FYI, that's a lot. So I knew this person. He did not get into IREN when I suggested it to him. But it's about risk and reward. He didn't like the risk. So he's asking me about nuclear at SM. My guidance to him was, hey, there are a couple of winners in nuclear. And I know it's CCJ because of the uranium. And so I said the ETF NUKZ is probably your best bet. Because Constellation Group, which I've been bringing up as a winner in some of this, Constellation Group is the biggest top holding in NUKZ. Cameco, CCJ, is a winner. They produce the uranium. Oklo, I don't know why it's 4%. They have no revenues whatsoever. Lockheed Martin, this is a safer way to go on nuclear. Again, personally, I don't want to pick the winner because I don't know nuclear well enough. So I would go with an ETF, or I would go with Constellation Energy, or I would go with CCJ, Cameco. I've asked experts. That's what they told me. If you don't want to pick a winner, that's where you go. So it's about understanding what you're good at and what you know. And I don't know that. Now, I don't know gold either, but Gold Rush returns. There are 10 mining stocks, okay? 10 mining stocks that have returned over 100%. This is them listed by their quant score, and the quant score has been good. Spoiler, I have either owned or traded. And most of these I've traded, but I've owned 4 of these over the last year from either Alpha Picks, the top 2025 stocks, second half stocks, or my own research. I currently own 3 of these. Not a bad place to be in 2025 for something that's, quote, safe as gold. Again, this is what Seeking Alpha gives you. And I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. And I went to this stock screener. In the bottom left of your Seeking Alpha setup, there is a stock screener. Okay? And I went to this top rated stocks. You can see there's 49 results. Okay? I wanted to find some in my preferred sector, but I kept finding gold stocks. That's what I like the most on those top stocks. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll buy more of those if I decide to actually invest a little bit. Then I went to these top rated, the quant dividend stocks. There's 8 of them. I own one. Why? Because it's an alpha pick. And I decided, you know what? If I want to add to that winner, I've already got it in a watch list. I'm perfectly fine. Then I went down here to the top small cap stocks because I don't know small cap stocks at all. I don't know. Okay. I found this one, ZEP, ZEPP. Okay. This doesn't fit in my wheelhouse. It's electronic equipment. It's an $824 million market cap. It's a strong buy from the quant. Why? Well, you can go and look at it, analyze it with AI. And you can read all about it. Faces competition from Apple, Garmin, Fitbit, okay? You can go and read exactly what they do. But what interested me about this one specifically was when I pull up a chart, and again, this is about using the tools that you have in front of you. I pulled up a chart and I said, you know what? This just came out of a 1,876% gain. That is a 10 to 15 year gain in a great stock. And you got this literally, if you were watching this, in 92 days. That interested me Because when I pulled up a weekly chart, I see that maybe the top hasn't been hit. Maybe we still have 40, 50%, because remember, stock charts have memories. And you can see this crazy, crazy move in this stock. So while I was looking at the screeners, I found that. And literally in this market, I could find 15 to 20 stocks that I could take some trades on just from these lists and Seeking Alpha and make money. That's why you have to find yourself a process. Again, I don't say you need Seeking Alpha, but for me, this is what works. I haven't traded any of these, by the way. Just so you know, I haven't traded ZEP whatsoever. But I wish I had, because that move is fantastic. But my process is my process. I am currently very happy with my portfolio. So I am looking for that A+ setup to try and add more money in or take money away from one of my winners. I just went over my Fidelity portfolio right before I started recording this, and I realized I don't have any losers. The one loser that I have, and I brought this up, PSIX. And want to know why? Because it's one of the top second half stocks from Seeking Alpha, and I just started adding to it as it's starting to downturn. Now, was that smart? Probably not. But let's pull up the 4-hour algorithm on PSIX and let's take a look at it. Because right here you can see 10% gain. I tried to time it. I just did it poorly. So I thought it was going to come back up off of this 50-day. I bought it. I am willing to hold on to this. Want to know why? Because it's got pretty good fundamentals. It's not a crazy, crazy stock. And you can see I've got notes on this one. The support is 78. So that's where I should cut ties. That was from 9.3. If it gets down to 78, I will cut ties. But it's a strong buy in the quant. Want to know why? The valuation's good. Growth is good. Profitability. It scores a 4.94 out of 5. And we've been following this since $4. And so I need to take some chances in this market. I went over it. My portfolio is up 9% because Apple's only up 2% year to date. QQQ is up 18%. I'm playing a little catch up. I need to take some chances. Is it crazy chances? No. I'm just trying to hit some singles in this. I'm not trying to hit home runs. So again, I've been a little bit more aggressive over the past couple of months than I normally would be, and I've gotten the reward. So it's not like I'm out there bragging on stuff. It's the market that's giving me gains. It's not my research. It's not me making great decisions. It's just me taking the risk and getting the reward. And the market has been rewarding, folks. I'm not telling you to do anything that makes you uncomfortable, but understand you will make mistakes. Even in this market, you will make mistakes. But if you're not keeping up with QQQ and VOO, understand you can do a lot less work and make a lot more money by just buying those ETFs. And they are tried and true. And will you see 40% downturn? I don't know. Nobody knows. You'll see headlines about a bubble. You'll see headlines about overvaluation. You'll see craziness. Go back to a monthly chart. Okay? Go back, and you can't do this on all stocks. But if you go to QQQ and you go to a monthly chart and you take a look and you start to feel nervous, trim. I told my friend yesterday, he was saying, hey, he didn't want to buy more Bitcoin. I said, Bitcoin's probably one of the biggest things that I'm going to see in 10 years. And I believe in it. So I'm putting a small portion of my portfolio into Bitcoin. But if I went and trimmed QQQ today because I started to see a downturn, you want to know when I'm selling, what shares I'm selling? Ones that were probably bought in 2015, 2014, somewhere there. So when I say trim, I'm not trimming stocks that I just bought last month. I'm trimming stocks that are long-term buy and hold. And as you start to trim, you add on the way up. Was I adding during this downturn in 2008? I was reallocating my portfolio to winners. And I said, you know what? Long term, I think this stock is going to be good. Even here during this multi-year downturn during 2000, 2002, I was getting out of the internet stocks, but I was adding to some of my other positions. I think I still owned Microsoft during this time. and it was down. And I didn't start to get gains on Microsoft until 2012. It wasn't, I didn't allocate capital. I made a ton of mistakes early on, but you will too. One thing I can guarantee you, you will make mistakes. One thing I can't guarantee you is that the market will be up another 50, 100% in the next 4 or 5 years. I can't guarantee that. Nobody can. But right now, from everything that you're seeing from the numbers, and earnings season is coming up. If earnings season provides the pullback that we need, that's a good thing because the economy is still in a good position. So if you have any questions, again, hit me up on Linktree. Everything's on Linktree. You get the best deals on these tools on Linktree if they interest you. If they don't, go out and find your own tools. Go and do your own thing. But again, this podcast is more about me than it is you. It's about trying to give you an opportunity to look into my eyes and see what I see in the market. So if you have any questions, hit me up. My email address is even on Linktree. I'll talk to you. I won't talk to you tomorrow. I'm interviewing Steve Kress tomorrow morning, so I will be doing that instead of the podcast, but I will be back on Friday. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. My head is all stuffed up. I will tell you, the Apple Watch Ultra that I bought, the Ultra 3, absolute game changer. It is so good with battery life. The battery life is amazing. I charged the battery yesterday for like 10 minutes. I did charge it Friday to get it to 100%. But I haven't, had the watch off since Friday. Okay, and the sneeze is in there. Green screen. Green screen. Export file. We're going to include the title name. Next. Okay. Hey, Cam. Let me look at your comments. Hut. What's Hut? Let me look at Hut. Hut or Hub? Hut 8. Oh, this one kills it on the 4-hour, Eli. You have Trendspider. This is all these Bitcoin miners are going at, this one's doubled. I mean, this one's almost as good as IREN since August. Oh, thanks, Larry. CCJ has been good. CCJ is, again, when I asked nuclear experts, hey, give me one stock. What's the safest play in nuclear if I believe in that nuclear power is going to come? And they told me CCJ because they mine it. And I saw their mine in Nebraska. I mean, one of those flyover states. I don't know, Utah. Who knows? But the mine was actually, it was really interesting that people can't go into the mine. That basically it's robots taking all the uranium out. And UNH has been, I have held it. I sold it a little bit at 316 when it got up to that 316 because you can see it was resistance. Once it got through, I added back in. And so I'm up a good amount on that. I don't know. Let's see my portfolio. Let's see my Fidelity portfolio. Do my big portfolio, which I was just touting about. That is up to 0.27%. So I'm underperforming. It's probably Apple. I mean, Apple just rules my portfolio. It's up 0.37. What's down though? Goldman Sachs is down 1%. That's a buy the dip. MPLX at 48. Wow. Under 50. I like that one under 50. Shopify's up another 2%. Shopify's going for 176. Cleveland Cliffs is up 3%. My Webull portfolio is up at 14.5. Remember that was 14.7 yesterday, I think. So 14.5. It is what it is. Yeah, UNH, I'm not a fan of the company. Just I'm buying the stock to buy the dip. Okay, I'm going to be out of here because I'm kind of sick. So I will talk to you guys on Friday. Take care. See you. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.